Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and all the core gamers out there. CAJman777 here, welcoming you to the final episode of Metroid Prime 2 Echoes today. Last time, we completed our 100% item collection by collecting every single item in the game, including all the Sky Temple keys that we needed to access the final Dark Temple, which is the dark clone of the Great Temple, simply known as the Sky Temple. And when we arrived in the Sky Temple, we were greeted by some very unfriendly Ing tentacles. But those unfriendly Ing tentacles unfortunately took the last remaining energy that Aether needs, and it's our job to finally put an end to this war between light and darkness. So, without further ado, I'm going to get right into it. But before I get into it, I'd like to take this quick opportunity to thank our donators over there on Patreon. Valentine Blaze, MickeyPhorGens, MaddiLeigh, Thomas, Eraisuithon Sotiri, and Liotos the Lotus for their continued support to the channel. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to hop in. We're going to scan this. And this is going to say Object Analysis. This is the core of the final Dark Energy Collector. The last collection of planetary energy lies within the core. When you place it within the energy transfer module for return to Aether, this world will become heavily unstable. Well, we already know that this is an arena, right? We already know this is the end of the game. So let's get right into the final boss. I don't want to keep you guys waiting too long. Ladies and gentlemen, meet the final boss of the Ing himself, Emperor Ing. So, starting off with the fight with Emperor Ing, you're going to want to scan Emperor Ing as much as you can. He has two or three attacks that he can use in this first phase. One of them that you just saw, he creates dark energy that he can throw in a ball. The more tentacles he has, the faster that dark energy is charged and the faster that ball gets released. Your goal, simply destroy the tentacles to open his weak point, which is hidden within the Emperor Ing head. He also has another attack that he can use in this phase, which is he can sweep his tentacles around the arena. When you see this dark ball getting charged, your goal, what you want to do immediately, and I literally mean immediately, roll into a ball the moment you see dark energy being charged in the tentacles, or you are not going to be able to do anything to him. He also has this sweeping attack that he can do only in the first phase of the first form of Emperor Ing. He also has a light beam attack that you can see a bit later, and if I can... Oh, shoot. Oh, I hit it in time. Okay, so after you break this shield, what you do is Emperor Ing creates just a shield. And this shield pretty much prevents you from doing any damage to Emperor Ing himself. But what you want to do is you want to hit him with as many super missiles as you potentially can. Now, you can get 2 or 3 in per round here. And it's pretty easy to deal with when you know what you're doing. So, obviously, what you want to do for this first form, though, the first fight, or at a certain at this current health threshold that Emperor Ing has, just stay out of the arena and continue to blast missiles at the tentacles. Keep in mind, though, unlike Metroid Prime 1, in Metroid Prime 2, you do need to keep your target locked on in order to lock on with missiles. Now, obviously, he does have the Dark Beam attack, but he also has a Light Beam variation of the attack, which you will start seeing when he has half health. But you'll only start seeing it when he has half health. If he does not have half health, he cannot do the Light Beam variation of the attack. So, I believe. That is what I remember from this fight, because all I remember is he's just going to throw Dark Orbs at you as the Emperor of Darkness himself. But, I'm sure you guys have been listening to me rabble on about Emperor Ing for a little bit, so I'm going to shut up and let you guys listen to his first phase theme a little bit, because I think it's pretty cool. Now, it does take 4 super missiles. I'm sure you guys can tell by the amount of damage I'm doing. It does take 4 super missiles to end the first phase of Emperor Ing here. But I apologize. I didn't mean to interrupt the music there. I think his first phase is really cool. And I really didn't mean to interrupt the music, so I'm just gonna... I'll shut up again. So you guys can listen to it. I apologize. I didn't mean to interrupt. Alright, there we go. Now that you guys have had a good chance to hear his theme, you may notice that he's creating more tentacles. Emperor Ing also does get this little shockwave attack after you do lower his health down to his lowest point of the threshold. Now, I am going to need to save quite a few missiles here, but I'm not going to be switching to my beams quite yet. There will be a reason I am saving my beams, and you will see that in a later phase, but I didn't get a chance to talk about his light beam attack here. His light beam attack just summons his tentacles out of the ground. The thing with Emperor Ing's light beam attack, though, is he can only ever summon 1 tentacle out of the ground at a time. They may come at you from multiple directions, but as long as you're in a boost ball or a morph ball, the tentacles will only come out of the ground, allowing just for some very smooth and very easy evasion with Emperor Ing. Now, when he does this stupid tentacle dance, it's super annoying to hit his tentacles, and he does do the shockwave following this stupid little tentacle dance, but I can probably finish off Emperor Ing here very soon. I just need to get a couple more super missiles in there. I think just 1. Hopefully. It might be 1 in a couple shots. But we'll see in a second. Alright, I broke that. Let's charge quick. Oh, that's not where I wanted to see the shield. I missed it? Got it. Okay. There we go. I'm surprised the first one missed, actually. I might have just hit the edge. Right, so Emperor Ing is now in a little bit of a cocoon state, as I call it, and obviously the scan says Emperor Ing Chrysalis. New creature entry has been added to your logbook. Emperor Ing Chrysalis, regenerating Ing ruler. Target regen shell is magnetically charged. 11 weak points have been detected. Target them with concussive blast to shatter the regen shell. Now, his shell is magnetic. So what you want to do is, during this time, this is why I stocked up on all of those power bombs during the game. This is why the game decides, let's give them 10 power bombs to finish the game with. Because you can do stuff like this. You want to get in between as many of these as you can. Unleash a power bomb while being held on magnetically. Let the Ing die. Let everything die. Let the past die. Pretty much. Destroy everything with power bombs. There are 11 weak points, as you stated, on this shell, and I got, like, a ton of them just then. I'm going to drop a power bomb here right now, so I can get as many of these as I can. I think just this one's left. I've got 2 power bombs. I'm going to set that and a power bomb. And I got it. Phase 2 is pretty easy, but obviously he was in a cocoon. This phase is hard. Especially on hard mode. Ladies and gentlemen, the final boss of the Ing himself, mutated Emperor Ing. New creature's entry has been downloaded to your logbook. Mutated Emperor Ing. mutated Emperor Ing. Altered ruler of the Ing Horde. Further phase-on mutation of the Emperor... excuse me. Further phase-on mutation of the Emperor Ing has occurred. The creature seems to only take damage when its heart is light or dark. Find a way to change the heart into one of these colors. Well, in order to change the heart to one of these colors, what you want to do is you want to blast some super missiles into Emperor Ing's mouth, if you can. Or you could do another option. You have two options, actually, in order to blast super missiles. In order to damage Emperor Ing so his heart can go light or dark. You can fire two super missiles at him, or you can fire some Annihilator Beam at him. Now, during this phase, Emperor Ing has many, many attacks. He has jumping attacks, he has charges, he has shockwaves, he has massive light beam and dark beam lasers. If you get hit by either of those lasers, you will take lots and lots of damage. Now, these lasers, all of his attacks, if you get hit by any of them, can disable your weapon system. So do be careful if it's a laser-based attack, because it will disable your weapons. So what you want to do is essentially, you want to look at the color of Emperor Ing's heart. If Emperor Ing's heart itself is glowing purple, you want to hit it with light beam to do critical damage. If you see it in the opposite color and it's white, you want to hit it with dark beam to do critical damage. Unfortunately, Emperor Ing is a butt, and he likes to put his legs in the way of you hitting him repeatedly. So that's really annoying, and something obviously you do have to be on the lookout for when you fight Emperor Ing, because as he moves around the arena, it gets very annoying to hit consistent charge shots against Emperor Ing. Now, this jump attack, I might try and exploit a little bit later down the line, and you'll see what I mean. So for whatever reason, the developers of this game decided that Emperor Ing, while in jumping form, is completely weak to the screw attack. And unfortunately, I did weaken him to the threshold where he is going to start doing some more of his charge attacks. And I can't hit him in the mouth for whatever reason here. I see a power bomb there. I'm actually just going to stick with Annihilator Beam here. Are you seriously not? My weapon system just got disabled there. That's not good. I'm going to stick with Annihilator Beam when he's in light. Because it's a little easier to deal damage to him when he's in light. I'm going to have to dash away in a second because he's doing his charge. When he does his charge, it's pretty easy to deal some damage to him as well. As you can see how much damage I'm actually doing to Emperor Ing right now. It's actually insane how much damage the light beam actually does. Now his heart will change back to red, and we've already got him at about half health. So now we're going to start seeing Emperor Ing's very, very aggressive form of fighting now. He is a very just threatening being when he does stuff like this. And he's got his very powerful, obviously, move arsenal, and something you don't want to deal with. That dark beam in particular, that dark beam laser is so annoying. It will freeze you if you get hit by it. Don't get hit by it. I mean, I think that's self-explanatory, but don't get hit by it. Ow, okay. Yeah, he does a lot of damage on hard mode, as you guys can probably see and probably tell. Hard mode Emperor, he's not easy. And especially hitting him with Dark Beam Charge. Now, I was going to try and exploit something here with the with Emperor, but I don't think I'll be able to do that, unfortunately. Unless I really time it right. Which is really unfortunate. Now, he should drop... he should have dropped a ton of Dark Beam ammo just then. Which I think I'm going to get some of it. Oh, God, no! I was not expecting him to do that right then. Now, I'm going to have to switch off to Annihilator here. It says Dark Beam's depleted, but there should be... Yeah, I was going to say, I should have gotten some. He's going to do his charge again. Very easy to deal with Emperor Ing when he does his charge attack. Now, I'm sure you guys have been listening to this theme as well. As you can tell, he does have two themes, Emperor Ing. So I'm actually going to give you the chance to listen to his second theme, because I like his second theme a lot better. So here you go. Take a listen, guys. And that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be Emperor Ing. Pretty smooth. I tried to do the screw attack thing. I'm sure you guys saw. Unfortunately didn't get it in time. It is a very tricky timing, but all you need to do is hit him in the tip of the foot, and he takes, like, literally 99% of his health is gone after you do that. I'm not kidding. 99% of his health is gone. It's like, it doesn't take long to kill Emperor Ing if you manage to land the screw attack. But with that and Emperor Ing's defeat, we can now recover the final planetary energy of Aether. But as you remember, we scanned the planetary energy before the fight, and we know for a fact that the moment we take this, Dark Aether is going to become very, very unstable. So what does that mean for our heroine? Well, a little bit of a classic Metroid escape going on right now, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a Metroid-style escape. That's right. We have 8 minutes to escape not only Dark Aether. Well, actually, no, that's it. We only have 8 minutes to escape Dark Aether. I mean, that's it. We have 8 minutes to escape Dark Aether. Now, unfortunately, this load trigger is really bugging me. Now, a good time to get out of Dark Aether by right now is about 7:35. So I did get it in time, which is good. You can get a little sooner if you're playing on a better console with with lower load triggers and stuff like that. But obviously, you guys still hear that the countdown music is still going. We're not done yet. We still have to escape. Now, there is a reason I switched to the Dark Beam here. And I'm going to let this cutscene explain why. Oh, that Phazon wall wasn't there before. Look familiar? Ladies and gentlemen, that is Dark Samus. Also known as Metroid Prime, in a callback to Metroid Prime 1 in the way Dark Samus looks. Can I scan you, for God's sakes? You're not going to let me do it, are you? Ladies and gentlemen, this is Dark Samus 3. Morphology: Dark Samus, supercharged with Phazon energy. Target: Phazon energy, weaponry, and defense systems are at full power. Phazon exposure has rendered Dark Samus invisible to the Dark Visor, but not the Echo Visor. So we will be using the Echo Visor through this final fight, and be like every Metroid Prime game, there is not only one final boss, there are two. As we had Metroid Prime in the original Metroid Prime, we had his Echo form, we had his Exo form, we have Dark Samus in her final form. So technically we're fighting Metroid Prime again at the end of the game here, which is kind of cool, if you ask me. But that is the reason I switched to the Dark Beam, because the Dark Beam obviously does critical damage to Dark Samus. I actually did a good chunk of Dark Samus's health. That's about an eighth of Dark Samus's health already gone. And as we switch to the Echo Visor again, I am going to try and get as close to Dark Samus as possible to hit Dark Samus with these fully powered Dark Beam charges. And I think we're going to see Dark Samus switch into Dark Samus 4 here, which is Dark Samus's final form. Dark Samus, unstable Phazon energy form. Target can generate shield immune to all forms of attack except Phazon. So what you do for this, during this form, Dark Samus only has 2 attacks. It is a Phazon missile and a Phazon beam that you will fire back at Dark Samus when she does attacks like that. Unfortunately, if you do get hit while you are charging up the Phazon beam, you unfortunately will not be able to keep that Phazon beam. And obviously, as you guys can see, this fight can be heavily reliant on RNG at times, because Dark Samus not only needs to do this attack, but you not only need to charge it up, but fire it back at Dark Samus as well. Now, I am going to switch to Dark Beam Charge again, as Dark Samus is going to drop and stay fully aware of where Dark Samus actually is right now. And she is going to continuously approach. Hitting her with a full Dark Beam Charge will immediately send her back into this form. The same also goes for sending a Super Missile at her. You will send her back into the form that you need to do. And unfortunately, I did not stay in place long enough to charge enough of the Phazon energy. Now, luckily, you don't need to finish the fight with I let go of the shot. Unfortunately, you don't need to finish Dark Samus with a fully charged Phazon energy blast. which is really cool. You don't have to. You can if you want, but you can end the fight in a couple ways. You can end it with the Dark Beam charge, a Super Missile, or the Phazon Energy charge. And obviously, as Dark Samus approaches you, it's just better for you to hit her very quickly with the beam that you need to hit her with. Dark Beam in particular, like I said, works very well. And I personally like standing on this back wall here, because this back wall gives you the most space not only to move around to avoid Dark Samus's missiles, but it gives you a lot of room to absorb the Phazon shots that Dark Samus is shooting at you as well. And of course, during this boss fight, you do have to worry about the countdown timer. Now, if you're playing this on normal difficulty, Dark Samus is probably already dead for you. But because this is hard, Dark Samus has double the health, which double the health is never fun. And luckily, this fight can go pretty well and very smooth very quickly if you just get everything you need to do properly. I already have Dark Samus at about half health, and I prefer Dark Samus to end her attack pattern with a Phazon charge. That way I cannot be hit with one of her Phazon missiles, which obviously do way too much damage. So she should end off with a Phazon charge here. So I am going to have to fire that back at her. And she did not fully... she had a Phazon missile left, though. And I did hit her, so we can hit her with another charged Dark Beam, which will immediately force her back into her other form. And she should do it right now, because I hit her before she got her other attack pattern off, which is very good for me. Luckily, you only really need to do one dash to avoid a Dark Samus attack here. Now, I do have her at a low enough health standpoint and a good time variant that I should be okay with ending Dark Samus with. Unfortunately, those missiles do hurt. Try not to stand in them, like I did like a fool. I stood right in the middle of that missile. Now, she should drop again. In a second, she might... Oh, yeah, there we go. I was just waiting. Sometimes Dark Samus does take a little longer to do that. Now, as she does approach me, I am going to hit her with the Phazon charge. I was going to try and avoid her, but she should go right back into... Oh, she didn't. Okay, she did. Okay, she should go right back into her form. I should be able to end this fight no problem here. Hopefully within the next minute or so. Provided I can hit both of these, which is really nice. I hit one. And she's still stuck in this form for a while, so I can still hit her with the second and still do a lot of damage to her. Now, on normal mode, the average time you could probably end Dark Samus, and you'll probably have about 3-4 minutes left on the clock. This one, forget it. You're gonna have about a minute left on the clock by the time you finish this. Now, luckily, I hit Dark Samus at the perfect time there, so she had to force herself to go back right into the middle zone. That's what you can do. You can manipulate Dark Samus. If you hit her fast enough, you can force her back into the middle zone, and I should be able to kill her in time here. I shouldn't have a problem. The time should not be a constraint here, provided I can get this Phazon shot charged. Unfortunately, I did not get it, but she is going back into her Dark Beam move, which is fine by me, so I'm going to hit her now. She is going to come at me, though. I still have time, so I'm not too concerned. I can end her with the Dark Beam. I can end her with whatever. So I do need to just be a little patient here. I need to make sure I get this charge. If I can get the other charge, we're done. It's right in the perfect spot. That's game. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. And now all that's left to view is the cutscenes, the credits, and our bonus unlocks. The last time I tried hard mode difficulty, the run I did before I started recording this whole thing, let me tell you, the run I did before this, before I started recording this whole series last year, I did a full run, I did a full playthrough of it just very quickly, 100% on hard. I had a second left on the clock during that Dark Samus fight. Literally 1 second on the clock, and I beat her. I got super lucky. That fight, I just felt very confident in my ability in that fight. Of course, we're still trapped in Dark Aether with it still crumbling around us. Now, this portal that just opened, we actually could have seen earlier in the game when we went into the Dark World to get the Seeker missiles. You could have seen this area a lot earlier, which was really neat. If you walked into the area where Seeker missiles were, which is technically where we put the Sky Temple keys, this portal you could not jump to. Even though it seemed like you could jump to it, you couldn't. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, that is gonna be it. I mean, it's been a ride. And I'll get to more of my opinions as we see some cutscenes still. I'll get to more of my opinions as we go into the credits, so I don't want to say too much now. I'll just let you guys enjoy these cutscenes and this music. But as you can see here, with the defeat of Emperor Ing and Dark Samus there, Dark Aether no longer exists. And the Luminoth can now come out of stasis. The rest of the Luminoth, at least. As they were going to go extinct, but Umos was smart. As the last protector. And I lost my light suit, but I'm okay with it. I like the look of the barrier suit way better. Now, even though all the Luminoth look the same, I assure you that is Umos. And with that, now we get our 75% completion, or I'm sorry, 75 or 80% completion cutscene, where we get to see Nintendo GameCube graphic Zero Suit Samus. And she just stares at the screen. That's it. That's all you get for 80%. And our ship has also been fully repaired. So now that is it. That is it for our adventure on Aether. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I know this Let's Play took a long time to complete. And I know for some of you, it was a long wait till we got to the end, as I started this Let's Play back in 2017 of 2016? No, it couldn't have been 2016. What? It's in the playlist. It's on YouTube. I forget the date specifically that I started this on. But let me tell you, it's been a wild ride through this game. I've had to take hiatuses from this game and just get some other recording stuff done and everything, but anytime I get a chance to play a Metroid Prime game, it's an experience. I love the Metroid Prime series. I love the Metroid franchise, and sure, all the franchises that Metroid has had its ups and downs. Down being Other M, up being Federation Force, believe it or not. I actually enjoyed playing Federation Force. Even though it was a spin-off, it actually has some bearing on Metroid Prime 4 that'll be coming out. But as we end our journey in Metroid Prime 2 Echoes here, I want to thank everybody for joining me on this journey. It was a wild ride, and I enjoyed sharing it with you guys, as throughout this series I've seen my channel grow, and I've seen the love for Metroid Prime 2 kind of come back into a lot of people's hearts on my channel, and I really appreciate that you guys enjoy the content that I put out, because during the recording of this entire series, obviously we broke 1,000 subs, and it's still going so far. But you guys are amazing, and I'm gonna keep pushing out some more Metroid Prime stuff, because the next Let's Play we're gonna end up doing, the next full Let's Play we're gonna end up doing on the channel is indeed going to be Metroid Prime 2. I'm sorry, Metroid Prime 2, Metroid Prime 3 Corruption. On its hardest difficulty. For those of you who don't know, its hardest difficulty. Metroid Prime 3 Corruption is very difficult. It introduces a difficulty that we're going to be playing on in an 100% run, that entire series. That difficulty is going to be called Hyper Mode. And I cannot wait to share Metroid Prime 3 with you guys, because there's a lot of stuff that ties in from Metroid Prime 3 into these first two games, and I can end up explaining that to you. And all the while we are waiting for, also, before I go off on a tangent, Kenji Yamamoto makes amazing Metroid music, just saying. Before we go into Metroid Prime 3, the reason we're going into, I wanted to give you guys the reason we're going into Metroid Prime 3 next on its hardest difficulty is, like I said, it's a little easier to 100%, for what they did in a little bit later in the game that you can unlock in Metroid Prime 3, and we'll get to it when we get to it, but it allows you to see the item locations that you're missing on the map. They're marked with little circles, and I wish every Metroid Prime game would have done that. I'm glad Metroid Prime 3 did it, but another reason we're going into Metroid Prime 3 next is because Metroid Prime 4 is coming. And you'd better believe when Metroid Prime 4 drops for the Switch, I am picking that up day one. I am live streaming the entire thing. So I hope you guys are excited for that. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to bounce for a second or two before we see the 100% cutscene. So enjoy the credits, guys. Enjoy the music, and I will see you at the 100% cutscene. Mission final, percentage complete, 100, total time, 12 hours and 32 minutes. And a full restart of the Let's Play. You guys remember that from a very early episode. I had to catch up exactly to where I had to be at the very beginning. But with that, we've got one more cutscene. A familiar figure made out of phazon particles has appeared. And obviously, we'll see that in Metroid Prime 3. So I hope you guys enjoyed this Let's Play one more time. And until then, this is CAJ Man 777 signing off. Stay safe, everybody.